Well, this is a game. I wish it wasn't so. But before we get started, there's one thing about it that you should know. But this is a game. Please remember my words. And don't get upset when you don't get what you think you deserve. Oh.
Welcome back! Today we're going to talk about different types of game masters, and I'm only really going to cover 3 because most of them fall into some subsect of these 3 categories, and if I went through all of them it would take a bit of extra time. So, to start with, I'm going to talk about the full planner, and this is usually more suspect of new game masters who don't really have a lot of experience, but some people stay in it for a long time, or they are always it. And this is the game master that comes up with these grand, full-scale plans and has no idea what to do when you negate or decide not to follow them. This is sort of the railroad GM that keeps you guys on track and make sure you follow the rules and make sure you're always part of the story that he has come up with. And this isn't necessarily bad, though sometimes it can be a little hard on players and the game master alike, as he tries to keep you in line and you move from point to point. But beyond that, usually if you actually follow the story, it's pretty solid. It's just when you start to deviate too far from the main story plot, he'll have to come up with some kind of hook to drag you back in, sometimes kicking and screaming, and that's usually how that goes. So the next one is the dice roller, and this is a game master that makes you roll dice for everything. If you come up with a plausible lie, you have to roll bluff. If you try to play a game of cards, you have to roll to see if you win. Anything that normally wouldn't require a die roll, that could require a die roll, he will probably make you roll. Usually this person also believes in crit failures and crit successes. So if you roll really badly, you've gotten a critical failure, which can have very devastating consequences. Or if you roll the best you could possibly roll, a lot of times you'll have a critical success, which things work out really well for you. For the most part, the dice roller is interested in the mechanics of the game more than the story, so he wants to see you guys tested, and he wants to see what you do when you fail. So that's a different type of running style. The last type is the storyteller. And this is a game master who is more focused on the story. You'll roll a lot less, but when you do roll, it'll be a lot more important. And in this case, a lot of times the story is more immersive and more organic, where the players will have more agency to choose their own quests or to completely ignore different parts of the scenario. But the storyteller will always remember that you ignored those parts. So if something really important was supposed to happen that you were supposed to stop or that you were supposed to complete, then if you don't get those things done, they will have a greater effect on the story in the long run. So it's a toss-up as to whether you want to follow every quest giver, or you want to just attempt to follow the main quest, or you want to 86 the main quest altogether and go off and hunt monsters or something. Play Blood Bowl. Yes, that's what you could do. So those are the 3 major types of game masters. But a lot of other ones are like mixtures of these 3 types, or They're a different type of subsect of one of these three types, but usually that's pretty much what you're getting into when you get a GM. So next week we're going to start getting into games. I'm not quite sure what game I'm going to start with, but I'll figure it out over the week, and I will see you on Friday.